And welcome to the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270 from the Tap-In Tavern in Bismarck. Bismarck Bobcats are back at home this week for 2 games against the North Iowa Bulls. Coming to you live from the Tap-In Tavern, the Bobcats Coaches Show every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Layne, Sedevie, Hunter Laslo, the 2 coaches, and our 2 player guests tonight, goaltender Hunter Garvey and defenseman Nick Baer. Want to remind you one more time, Saturday's game against the North Iowa Bulls at 7:15 is our second of 4 opportunities for a Bobcat fan to shoot a puck and win $1 million home during the second intermission. One fan at the game on Saturday will be picked to have this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Brought to you by our 4 proud sponsors, Paramount Builders Incorporated, Knife River, Front Street Millwork and Lumber, and Interiors by Design. Well, the Bobcats just went down the road to North Iowa, their longest road trip of the season, and returned with only 2 points out of 4, a 3-1 win on Friday, 2-0 loss on Saturday. First time the Bobcats have been shut out this season. Didn't come without a lack of trying. 30 shots on goal in that Saturday game after 32 on Friday. The offense, did their part on Friday night, just got enough to get past a decent defensive Bulls team, but on Saturday just could not break through. And the Bobcats, who are used to splitting series at this point, split another one. Again, 3-1 win, 2-0 loss, and they will welcome North Iowa into the VFW Sports Center for the first time this season, coming up on Friday and Saturday. If you recall, last year the Bobcats beat the Bulls 9 of the last 10 times, including 5 of 6 in total in Bismarck when they played. The Bobcats pretty much saw the Bulls as close to an automatic win as possible. This year it's not been that way, though. Bobcats went to North Iowa twice for 4 games before welcoming the Bulls in. They've only won twice of those 4 and gotten a total of just 5 out of a possible 8 points. These are points the Bobcats have to pick up if they are to make their way out of the cellar of the division. Thankfully, their hole is not too deep. They're only a couple of really good weekends away from jumping themselves right near a playoff spot and out of 6th place. Following this North Iowa series, the Bobcats are at home to face the Aberdeen Wings next Friday and Saturday. That's the 20th and 21st of January. Then they won't be home for 3 more weeks. They'll go on the road for 4 straight after that. Only 3 teams these Bobcats will play over the next month and a half. 4 with North Iowa, 5 with Aberdeen, 3 on the road, 2 at home. Then a home-and-home 4-gamer with St. Cloud. So you can pretty much treat this as just 4-game series, and 3 of them in a row. If you win 3 out of 4 each of those 3 times, or in the Aberdeen case, 3 of 5 or 4 of 5, Bobcats will be set for a much better last few months. And now at long last, Layne Sedevie joins us here on the Bobcats Coaches Show.
Huh.
Layne, how are you?
Long last.
Well, it's 5:05. We started at 5:02.
Well, that's an early start.
Guess so. If you're wondering, radio listeners can't see this, but TV viewers certainly can. Layne Sedevie's save percentage in practice this week is 1 for 1.
Yep, first time ever. Don't get in the way of a puck. It doesn't feel good. It looks good.
Does it? It's not really a shiner. It's just a few stitches over your right eye. That's kind of all it is at this point. Some swelling, though, too.
Yeah, I think she's going to be good in black probably by tomorrow, but it's getting some good purple color, but yeah, I guess, it's funny you send it to coaches and their response is it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So, what do you do? I told you, but it happened so fast before you know it. Next thing you're in the ER. So, kind of is what it is. I mean, I felt bad for obviously Shy, who hit me and, I hit the post. I seen it coming, and there was just nothing I could do. So, luckily, I can still see out of my eye. That's the big part.
You told me even if you were in a game you had the whole pads on, that would have just gone off your helmet mask. No chance to get that glove up. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think people really realize how fast, they shoot it. But it's crazy when, I almost feel like sometimes when it hits the right way off a post, it almost picks up speed. And it's obviously hard to track when it hits off the post too. So, I guess really, shouldn't have been standing there. Wrong place, wrong time.
All right. Well, thankfully, Aiden's feelings are okay for now. He was mortified at first, but you're okay. You didn't snap at him, and you still made the save. So that's all good. No goals went in the back of the net. Hey, last night you got to be on the call for Bismarck High, Bismarck Century. Fun game at the VFW last night. The one thing that we both really loved about it was the BHS band in town for such a big game performing at the rink beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, any other night than getting hit with a shot in the eye and having a headache. I don't think there's anything better. I mean, it reminds me all the time of when Hunter and I went to Mankato and watched Mankato play Duluth. Reminds me of the college days. I mean, the band. They're just something about it. That's the one part that junior hockey doesn't have that I wish they did. It just in between periods. I mean, Mankato's band was going from one entrance to the other, and it was just it was awesome. I mean, it's so cool, and obviously there's students there and that sort of stuff, and in high school there's students as well. But again, I mean, it's the memories I have as a kid, growing up, going to the rink, watching my brother play, BHS, CHS, and then playing in those games. It just the atmosphere is. It makes it a lot of fun, and I think that's the same. When I went to, I haven't been to a college game since, probably about 2010. I went to the Frozen Four with my family, and I haven't been to a game since then. And just the atmosphere at Mankato was awesome. I mean, the band and just everything about it. So, I mean, it's the high school. I mean, I think that's the cool part about it. I mean, it's just. It brings the fans, the atmosphere. It just puts it on a different level that I don't think you can attain without that band.
It's kind of like college football, a level
100%.
of the pageantry involved in it.
It is, and it's on a smaller spectrum, but it's still the same effect. I mean, the band gets rocking, and everything about it is the same. College football, you have 100,000 people, but I mean, they get into the band. It's hard to explain. It really is. I mean, I think the energy from a band is, it's just so cool. I think it's a part of sports that I don't think should ever leave, and I'm sure it won't. It's tradition, and I truly feel that that's what makes, whether you want to call it college football or college hockey or, I've only been to one college basketball game and I can't remember, but it makes that level extremely special.
I know it wouldn't work at every junior hockey rink. Like if we go to St. Cloud, there's nobody there but the band. It'd be kind of weird. But for a game at the VFW, like a Bobcats playoff game, having the band there would be so cool to have. It would work.
Be unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, you would get the fans. I mean, you could play. I mean, it's just you sit there. Laz and I are sitting there in Mankato, and the band starts playing songs, and it's like the whole. I mean, there's, I don't know what that seats, but I mean. 5,000. I mean, it's a packed place. They're playing the Dogs, and I mean, they start playing something. The whole set. I mean, there's no better way than that to get everybody on the same page and interacting. I mean, it's the really cool and raw part of I think college athletics and high school that makes it an event a lot of fun.
Talking with Layne Sedevie on the Bobcats Coaches Show. Bobcats went down to North Iowa last week. They'll host the Bulls again on Friday and Saturday at 7:15 in Bismarck. BismarckBobcats.com for tickets. First roadie in the new bus. Pretty good so far.
I'll tell you what. It's one of those things that I don't own this team. I'm just fortunate enough to be here as long as I've been, and man, I tell you what, from the bottom of my heart, I thank Tom. It almost makes me want to choke up, but that bus is it's nice, and to me, it's the one missing piece. We try and put our heart and souls in this program. We Nico works his tail off for me. I've been here 13 years. I'm so thankful for Rother and Hendy and Hunter and having good people, but man, I'm not old, Corey, but I'm getting there, and to have a bus, it's our lifeline, man. It's what we travel on our home away from home, and we spend a lot of hours on that bus, and even if it's to Minot or Aberdeen, but it's awesome. I mean, I can't thank Tom enough, and it's a business to run. I understand that. I fully get that after doing it this long, and but you know what? To have that now, and yeah, to me, it was the final piece. It really was. It was something that I know for Tom was tough, and but now it comes full circle, and I really feel like. When we're recruiting and doing everything and doing all that sort of stuff, I mean, hey, like it's a big deal. I mean, you know it. You ride on buses and our buses, and I mean, to go down the road now with peace and quiet, um, be comfortable, be able to charge your own. I mean, just the amenities. And I'm not saying that, every kid is, or we need all this stuff and the glitz and the glam, but the comfort level is extremely nice. That's for sure. I mean, it really is. I texted our captains for probably the last 5 or 6 years and a picture of it in the inside. And they said we lost grit because of it, but I told them, I said I wish we could have had this for you guys, and I felt like it's the one part that we were missing. So I'm thankful Tom is, obviously it's a business and it's his, and to kind of shore that end up means a lot to me. That's for sure. I put a lot in this program, and I ain't even put even close to what he's put into it. I mean, he's been with this blood, sweat, and tears for 26 years, and through the ups and downs. So, I can't even imagine what he's been through. But I'm just thankful that we have something that is sufficient. And quite frankly, I mean, the big thing is too is, Corey. I mean, I oversee you. But I also oversee 24, 25 guys going down the road, and to be assured that they're safe and on something that is, nice and comfortable. And obviously, to me, we have the best bus driver in the league. I mean, Brad's he's as good as it gets. I mean, guy knows everybody's first name, but he's also very sound on the road, and that's a big part. I mean, as a coach, you want to get you want to win games, you want to do all that sort of stuff, but you want to get from point A to point B safe, and that's the most important part.
And you know what? When we've had to rent buses in the past, a couple times this year, when it's not Brad driving the bus, the boys get on the bus and say, "Where the heck is Brad?" He's like that extra teammate that we have.
Yeah, and I still get text messages from Rother and Hendy, and he is. I mean, there's not a bus driver like him. He's a special guy. He's a great human being. And that's hard to replace. Not only is to me the most important part is getting there safe, but he's one of the best human beings that I know, and that's even coming from North Iowa, we got to stop a couple times, and he has to kind of shut her down, take a nap, but he's responsible. I mean, he cares about the guys on the bus. He cares about really everything, and that's just Brad. I mean, that's just who he is, and to me that speaks volume of obviously what he is.
And still made pretty good time on the way back too, under 9 hours, which is pretty good for a North Iowa trip.
Absolutely.
As far as your games in Mason City, a 3-1 win on Friday, 2-0 loss on Saturday. You said you wanted a weekend of defensive games, and more importantly, to win defensive games. Well, you got 2 of them. You won 1. But again, this team of splits just keeps on rolling on here.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where I wish we would have came into the weekend and won 2 games 2-1, and then you come out of the weekend and you give up 2 goals, and you sit there and you wonder how you don't get 4 points. To be honest with you, the way I look at it from the previous week, it's a win in my book. We score 11 goals the week before, and we give up
15 in that series.
Yeah, I mean, so you go into a 2-game set, and you give up 2, and I know we don't get 4 points, but we focus so much on defensive zone and our end, and then we, I don't know, we just we don't have the offensive output, but that's to me there's inconsistency with this group, and obviously we can score, but we haven't scored consistently. I feel like we've put up lopsided numbers, and then we haven't been able to back it up the following night. And I think that's, whether it's on the defensive side of the puck, really I just look at the game as a whole, and I think it's something that, we have to learn how to. It don't matter if we win 7-1 one night. We have to learn how to show up the next night, and more times than not, you're not going to put up 7. You might not even put up 4, but you got to find a way to win that game. And if it's a 2-1 win, to me that's something where if we see this group eventually do that, I think we're on the right track. And to me, it's this weekend's a new challenge, and that's the challenge that lies ahead of this group.
Is experience and actually doing it the only way you can learn to be consistent?
Yeah, I think so. It's unfortunately, junior hockey, you have a lot of ups and downs and a lot of new faces, and we have guys from last year that went through the ups and downs, and I think more so than not. I mean, you're as a coach, you're leaning on those guys to really bring the young guys along, and 30, 32, 34 games in, I mean, not necessarily have a so-called rookie anymore, and I think that's the big thing is not only do our vets have to lead, but our first-year guys really have to do a good job of understanding that, hey, we go into North Iowa on the road, we get a 3-1 win, play fairly well, did what we need to do, but it's all for naught really if you don't back it up. And that being said, a split on the road's okay. Not necessarily in the position that we're in. We need to have some sweeps and we need to get some momentum going. So understanding, both sides of that scenario. I think that's the difference of us getting, momentum and moving up the standings, or, kind of staying in that same pattern.
Do you look at these next 6 weeks really like series, as in if the Bobcats beat North Iowa twice this week, it's still 3 games out of 4?
Yeah, I mean, you can. We're at home. I want to win both of them, and then reset and move on against Aberdeen. So, I mean, you can look at it that way. I necessarily don't. I think there is, to me, there should be weighted value in playing at home and on the road. That's why, the last thing we talked about is a split on the road isn't the end of the world. Now, when you don't back that up at home and get 4 points, then that's where you're stuck in this rut where you're just kind of not getting anywhere. So to me, I think that's the big part is making sure we can back it up, and have good efforts on a Friday and Saturday, and then you know what, North Iowa's kind of on the back burner, and we got to go to Aberdeen for 5. So I think it's one of those things where we need to focus on what we're doing here, and at the end of the day, you have to make the most of being at home. Not only do you have to be road warriors, and we found that out last year, you're not going to make that run if you don't win at home, you don't win on the road. So, that's the same mentality that this group has to have. We're not in that situation yet. But, again, I think that's the the tenacity and the mindset you have to have, because you know what, Corey, if we go 0-2 this weekend somehow and go 1-2 next, now you're in that same situation. If you win both this weekend, you're 3-4 points out of a playoff spot. We were talking almost 17 points out of a playoff spot last year. That's a big difference. So, but again, it can happen so fast. I don't think that's unreasonable to think about either way. That's to me, that's the mindset and the mentality that this group needs to have, and there's no time like the present to make things happen.
And last year, I think this Bobcat team had 7 or 8 sweeps just in the second half alone. This year's team has not swept a series since October, so it's a similar setup.
And we never had a sweep before January. I know that last year.
No, that's not true. We swept
Minot?
St. Cloud Thanksgiving last
right.
year.
Brandon Reller.
Then North Iowa in December, and then 7 after New Year's.
Okay.
So
7 after New Year's. That's pretty good.
We only have 2 this year, and they came in a span of 3 weeks. Aberdeen, then the Brawl game.
Yeah.
Haven't swept a series since, but as we found out last year, going 3 months with no sweeps is actually not a recipe for disaster yet. But it has to start soon.
Yep, I'm with you. It's not panic button, but there needs to be more good than bad. That's for sure, and it needs to happen sooner than later.
We've got Leonard Zlipski's back for practice this week from World Juniors. Have you picked his brain about what everything's like with Team Latvia yet?
Not really. Just I was talking with him the whole time he was there, and we were talking back and forth whether he get a start or not, and at the end of the day, I just told him, I said it's a great experience for him, and he kind of relayed the same message to me, and he said their starter who plays in Danbury was playing lights out, and he understood that, but yeah, I mean it's nice to have him back. He'll go Friday night, and I think it gives us that good competitive edge between the pipes. I mean. Those guys, Hunter and Lennards know what's at stake, and I don't know, Corey. There's a lot of things that are cool in the game, but when you're able to put your country sweater on, it's a different level. It's a different feeling, that's for sure.
Hunter Garvey with 6 consecutive starts. That'll end on Friday, as you said. 55 for 57 in his old barn in North Iowa. I mean, he gave you, his numbers may not have shown it until last weekend, but he gave you everything those 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, he was really good last weekend. And we limited chances too, but he still made a couple big saves a night. And to me, when we traded for him, that was the Hunter Garvey that I had seen against us the previous year, and what he was capable of. So, Lennards will go Friday, and Hunter will go Saturday, and we'll see what happens. To me, that's the best case scenario, having 2 goalies that are more than capable of, and at the end of the day, when you get down to it here in the next couple of weeks, you hope a guy emerges and can run with that job. I mean, that's just the reality of goaltending. So that's kind of where we're at. But Garves was great. I mean, after Saturday night, I just said, hey, at the end of the day, like, I don't have much to say. You want to win, you got to score a goal, and good game, Garves. I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. So, I thought we defended well, or extremely better than the 3-game set before against Minot. But he was solid too.
You've been switching up your approach in practice too this week, with having 3 goaltenders now, up from 1 last week. More stick on puck, more skills, more time on the ice. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we need to get better. So we wanted to really kind of have 45 minutes to work on what we need to work on, and then come back out, get an ice cut, and do skills. And again, I mean, just work on stuff, and that's I think it's the most valuable part of these guys' development, and us conversely getting 4 points on a weekend. So in the first half we can work on what we need to work on, and in the second half you can slow it down and kind of go, whether it's goalie drills or D working on skating, getting pucks through to the net, all that sort of stuff, for forwards working on shots in different areas and going through stuff. At the end of the day, that's why I hired Hunter. I didn't want necessarily a defensive-minded guy. I would say that's what I am. And he was obviously a forward. I think that was the nice part about Rother and Hendy is having those guys do skills with him and being able to do that. So, I think it kind of brings a couple dimensions to our practice that are a little different. So we kind of met with our captains and met with the rink staff and okayed it. So now we, a little different format, but again, at the end of the day, Corey, if you don't put in the work, you're not going to get better.
Was that in response to not scoring as much as you would have wanted?
No, that was a couple weeks ago. We'd already had that in the works. This weekend, to me, it is what it is. We need to be more consistent, and the kicker is you can say, well, we need to score goals. We need the same defensive effort too. So when you look at everything as a whole, to me, that's what you're looking for. I mean, it's not only do we need to, at the end of the day, you score 3 a night, you should win games. To me, that's always the mark. 3 or less a goaltender, you're going to be in every game, going to give your team a chance to win. No different than our team right now. We need to defend well. Obviously, we have to score goals too.
It's amazing how close this Bobcat team is to being really, really good. Every night they could have won, but for this stumbling block. Saturday it was, couldn't score. Friday you won, of course. In every Minot game, there was just something different, whether it was one bad stretch of a period or a couple goals being waved back or off or whatever it may be in the New Year's game. Just so close, aside from like one thing that trips you guys up from winning every single night.
Yeah, and again, you can sit there and go, hey, we can make a lot of excuses. I mean, we had after Friday night North Iowa, we had 6 goals in 3 games waved off. I mean, that's for and against.
Well,
And
but you're counting goals that should not have been called for the opposing team as part of that total.
correct.
Okay, yeah.
Correct. And that's not me being biased. That's just the full
I mean, the video shows it.
right, the full picture. And Cody, obviously, we talked back and forth, and I mean 6 goals in 3 games, and the goals are the most important part. But we can all make excuses, and that's where I think we're close. On one hand, I feel like, but then there's this other feeling I have with this group that really needs to bring some reassurance to myself and Hunter to really back it up. And to me, the only way you do that is getting the job done on Friday, and then being men and being professionals about it and getting the job done on Saturday night.
We saw a lot of that last year too, and the captains are so huge in getting the guys in the right mindset. As far as this year's group is concerned, that's still something we're trying to see and waiting to see it out of this group.
Yeah, it's a missing piece.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when you sit there and you say, how do you feel about your team? And I just have an uneasy feeling about it. At the end of the year or in that second half, you got that feeling. I mean, you knew going into games, and I don't want to say it's easy to say, but as a coach, when you get a team to a point, you do have feelings, and you understand that like if maybe if we don't have a a good start, we can call a timeout, we can come in between periods, and we can get this group back on the same page, and we can still win this game. And I think that's the part that this group has really not shown me yet. And I think that's the big challenge for this group, is because when we struggle for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, we find ways to lose games. We can't handle that adversity right now.
The most uneasy I ever felt second half of last year was games 59 and 60. Aside from that, it was pretty reassuring.
Yeah, but that's just the nature of the magnitude of those games. That's being you're a sports guy. When you're involved in sports. I mean, that's just, you don't have butterflies in that scenario. You should probably hang them up. There's nothing better than that. I mean, you can't write that script any better.
Even the robot himself, Michael Newmeyer, had the butterflies.
Yeah, if you don't, I mean, then you need to play a different sport.
For sure. Layne Sedevie, thanks so much.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, Bobcat players coming up in 2 minutes on the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. And welcome back to the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. Bobcats getting set for North Iowa this weekend at home. Former Bull Hunter Garvey joining us on the Coaches Show. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. If you haven't heard Hunter Garvey's Mic'd Up, go on our YouTube or Facebook page or whatever and click on it, and you'll hear this guy singing Christmas songs and talking to himself, doing whatever for an hour-long practice. You don't do that during the game, do you?
No, I don't. It's very, very focused during the game. There's not very. I mean, maybe I'll have a song in my head, but even that, I don't know. Games are maybe some saying in my head just getting repeated over and over again, like a psychopath.
Is that just being on an island by yourself for the whole game?
I guess, yeah. I just wanted to be focused and not really focusing on anything else.
Yeah. You were being pretty feisty, too, chirping Adam Patilla and some other guys. Do you do that during the game, too?
I do not do that during the game. I find that sometimes if I say something or do something, it always comes back to bite me, so.
Well, I'll tell you what. You came down to North Iowa last week, your old home, did pretty well, 55 for 57. How many former teammates are you still close with, and were you talking to over the weekend?
So I'm actually close with a lot of them. A lot of the returners, obviously. And so I talked to them a little bit. I mean, not as much during the game, but I mean, I said hi before the game, and then after, I mean, I talked to a couple over the phone and stuff, and maybe if I saw some at a restaurant, I said hi to them there. But during the game, it was all, everything was a go. I mean, I kept bugging my old teammate Max Scott there. Like I held his stick one time, and he punched me in the face in return for that, and I stepped in his way as he was trying to go around the net. Just little things like that kind of annoy him during the game. So,
does being down there at your old rink that you're familiar with, of course, does that help you in the game?
Not a ton. 'Cause, I mean, the only thing that really affects me is like having a place to warm up prior to the game. I mean, obviously the rink does affect a little bit, like with lighting and stuff, but it's all going to be the same on the ice, depending on the lighting. It's just going to be ice, pretty much. So it's not too different of a feel for me. But having like a good place to warm up is an important thing, I think, when you're going to a rink.
Is scouting out the lighting and seeing that something every goaltender does? Like, what exactly do you look at before the game as far as lighting is concerned and what you're going to be seeing?
I mean, I don't really focus. I mean, I try not to focus on the lighting because I can't control it. I sometimes will see if lighting's bad. There's a couple rinks where it is pretty bad at. But I do kind of try to adjust to it by doing like ball work and everything out in that said lighting so I can get used to it.
Do those red stanchions around the nets in North Iowa mean anything for a goaltender?
No.
No?
No, I didn't even notice they're red.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, last year a couple times Bobcat goaltenders had trouble tracking pucks in North Iowa, so I didn't know if it was that or not.
I think the black seating is a worse player in that. Like I will depending on the rink sometimes if it goes high and it's like dark. Like Corpus Christi down in the south, they have all black seating and like a giant black wall on one side, and if they shoot it high, obviously, lob it up, it gets really hard to see that puck. But
yeah, you've played in a ton of rinks, home or road across this league. You've been a part of every division but the Midwest. What's your favorite rink, home or visitor, you've played at so far?
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of rinks, but I don't really know. I mean, I play in a lot, but there's a couple that are like good. Obviously, I think we pull a really good fan base, so it makes it a really good atmosphere to play in. Minot gets a good fan base too, as much as we hate them, but they get a good fan base that makes it hard to play in. Shreveport really hard to play in. They get a really good fan base. I liked Amarillo when I was there. That rink was a little funky because it's not actually a regulation size rink. They have to get a permit for that one. So it is a little bit weird with angles at that one, but I enjoyed playing there. But I mean, there's not really particular rinks I love to play in. There's more so just rinks I hate to play in. So
yeah, and we were one of those last year.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like everyone on North Iowa didn't mind going to Minot because the hotel is in a nice spot and everything, but Bismarck was just, we can't stand coming here.
Yeah, I mean, we get tossed at the back of the hotel here when we came here. It'd be a 1.5 mile walk to get to our rooms. We'd come back, come to the game at night. You know, it'd be a pretty loud rink. Last year is a pretty offensive game both ways, I feel like. So being his goalie, it's kind of like somewhat dreading it because you know there's not going to be as much defense as you'd probably want there to be. It's not going to be a 1-1 game. It's going to be maybe four goals each way, maybe. It depends on the game because there's going to be so many different chances. I mean, you're going to try not to let in that many goals, obviously, but just numbers-wise, I guess, like chances-wise, that's how it's usually going to be based off how the teams play. And also, like, at the end of the year when we were coming here a lot, felt like that Bismarck, well, us I guess now, were on a heater, so that also didn't help.
There was a 9-7 game between the Bobcats and Bulls. Do you
Yeah,
recall
thankfully
that game?
I didn't play in that one.
Yeah, thankfully. But then it may have been the next night, wasn't it? You guys beat us 4-3, right? At the second game.
Maybe
of
I don't.
back?
I don't remember.
I
just remember I would have been in the goal for that next game, but I don't remember the that game after it. I remember certain aspects of games, but I don't remember full games really, or like the scores of games back like at specific dates, I guess, other than that 9-7 one where I was on the bench. So
yeah. Do you watch a lot of film?
Well, as a team, we watch film, and then I usually watch my film from Hockey TV. I do like to watch film, but probably could watch a little more.
Yeah, sure. Your parents were in town in Mason City last week, all the way from San Diego. How cool was that?
That was really nice. I always enjoy seeing them. I didn't get to see them that much, sadly, because, I mean, we're away. But I did get to go out to dinner with them, and I saw them a couple times. And, you know, it's always nice seeing them. I think I'll see them again maybe sometime within the next month. We'll see. I mean, they try to get out here every month or so.
I mean, being that far away in San Diego, when you get to see your family, it's always a treat for you, right?
Yeah, it's very, very nice, especially because I see him in the summer somewhat, but I don't, like, I kind of split between there and Chicago during the summer, so it makes it a little more, or a little less time they see me, so.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned playing in high-scoring games. The last two games in Iowa were very low-scoring, 3-1 and 2-0. How do you approach, being in a 0-0 game in the third period? Anything different than what you normally would do?
I mean, it didn't work this weekend, but no, you just try to stay focused. I mean, you can only control what you can control, so you try to focus on that and try not to be the one to let up that first goal or stop the chances you face. I mean, sometimes it might not go your way, but sometimes it will. As long as you're staying focused and giving it your best shot, I think that's the best you can do for it. So.
And what's your relationship been like with Lennart's?
Pretty good. I mean, when I first got here, obviously it's a little awkward when it's like a new relationship kind of. But after that, like, first week, I think he really started opening up with me. And then, I mean, it's been pretty good since. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen him for a little bit, but when he got back, it was pretty nice to see him back. So, I mean, we have a good relationship, I think.
Have you learned anything weird about Latvia since you've been talking to him?
No, not really. We haven't talked. I mean, I do like to ask a lot of questions to my European teammates about, like, where they're from, but I haven't learned too much about Latvia from him, or Latvija, as it says on the hoodie.
Yeah. All right. Coming up Friday, Saturday against North Iowa, you'll be playing one of these games. How do you beat them?
Let in fewer goals than they score, or than we score. That's the easiest thing. I mean, just play a good defensive game, I think, and if I do a good job and our team puts a couple in the net, I think that's a solid game plan, I mean, our power play's been really good this year, I think. Obviously, this last, if we perform as great as we can, I know we can, I think that would be a big help. And we've been doing really well on defense this past week, and I thought, so if those things click, I think we'll get a good weekend here.
Last thing, you wanted me to ask you this last time. How badly do you want to beat the Bulls?
Oh, a lot. Obviously, I mean, we're not in the best place we want to be in the standings. So, I mean, we want to go up, and we have to win more games to do that. So, I mean, obviously, I want to beat the Bulls a lot. I want to beat everyone in the league more. So,
there you go, Hunter Garvey. Thank you.
Thanks.
You bet. Nick Baer coming up in 2 minutes on the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. All right, welcome back to the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. Bobcats taking on North Iowa this weekend. Nick Baer joining us on the Bobcats Coaches Show. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Good.
So, going down to Mason City last week,
Yep.
Not far away from your hometown in Minnetonka, Minnesota.
Yep.
It seems like every time we're on the bus and we pass your hometown, someone has to bring it up, and it's usually in a negative way. Why is that?
It's mostly because Minnetonka and Edina are sort of like better off cities and not poor counties or whatever, and I think that's mostly because we got a big lake and there's a ton of big houses and whatever, and I think that's true to an extent, but where I'm from, not so much. Don't live in a multi-million-dollar mansion, so yeah, you definitely hear it from the boys, but it's not true in yourself.
Yeah.
Try to keep it to yourself, but
How's Tonka doing this year?
they're doing actually really good. They've had a few hiccups here and there, but when I skated them with them at Christmas time, it was really good to see all the guys, and they seem like they're meshing pretty well, and they'll have a good run at the state tournament here.
So Chase Beacom has been your D partner for now 2 straight months.
Yep.
I couldn't help but notice, well, first of all, Layne shortened the bench to 4D on Saturday in the third period, so you got to play a ton with Chase.
Yep.
But you and him have been watching film at the hotel and so on, and just getting better as a group. What's it like having that same D partner for now 2 months straight?
I think it's easier because once I get to know him, been playing with him for a while, so I kind of know where he is on the ice and know how he plays. Know he's a smart defenseman, and he can get up in the play and make his offensive plays too. But I always know he's there, has my back, and watching film, we always seem to watch film separately. But I guess at the hotel, we were in the same room at the hotel, so we're like, I guess why not? We could watch it together and kind of figure things out together and talk each other out. So, I mean, it's easier with Beaks because he's an easy guy to talk to, and he's a really good player, and he'll tell me what I need to work on and if there's certain things that I can move towards and different plays that I could do. So he's been really helpful towards me and me and the group and how we play, definitely.
Just seems like Chase knows the game so well. Of course, he's been here for a long time, too.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely knows the game really well.
So when you're playing with him, it just seems like his shot blocking ability has rubbed off on you in a way. You're blocking as many shots as he is sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of a little bit of my playingness or how I played when I was a little bit younger. So I try to do it as much as I can. And when I got here, I heard he was like the king of blocking shots. So I was like, all right, I got to kind of match up with this guy. And being matched up on a line with him, I was like, all right, I guess I'll try to show him up as much as I can. So that's basically where we're going.
Chase says he doesn't even feel block shots anymore. Do you feel them?
Yeah, if I'm being honest, yeah, a few times. I mean, sometimes they'll catch you on the inside of the calf or whatever, and you're like, ouch, that hurts, but you can't really do anything about it. You just play through it. But yeah, I can see where he's going with it. I mean, he's got a lot of padding on, and I just got a new pair of shin pads because my others broke from blocking all those shots. And yeah, I can definitely see where he's going with it.
Are there any guys in practice who, when they're lining up for a shot, you're on the PK, for example, you get out of the way, maybe you don't block that shot in practice?
Yeah, definitely Reller because he has a hard time missing the net, or he has an easy time missing the net, I should say. But no, I mean, Patilla tried to take a one-timer today, and I got out of the way because I was not taking out into the foot. Just try to get a stick on it, you know what I mean? But, in a game, you're definitely jumping in front of that. And PK practice, we're definitely jumping in front of it, I mean, as much as we can. But it's sort of play it as it lies, and when you're being a smart guy and you don't want to hurt yourself in practice or whatever. So that's kind of it.
I mean, Layne sure blocked a big one back on Tuesday, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a shot in the dark there by Shy. Ricocheted off the post, didn't see it coming, just right to the eye. I mean, it looked scary, was scary, and I'm glad he's okay.
What's it like being, as Layne called, a guy who you know what you're going to get every night? Like, you and Rolly are kind of similar in that you're reliable D-man. Is that part of your game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not like Newey. Newey's really reliable on the offensive end too, and I try every once in a while, but that's not really my game. My game's to protect the net and move pucks north and get it to the forwards and let them do their work down low.
As far as being on the right side of the puck, that's something that we've heard a lot of in recent weeks.
Yes.
Was much better in North Iowa as opposed to the Minot series, for example.
Absolutely.
Is there a better effort now to not jump up in the play and just make sure you're on the right side of the puck now?
I think it's less about that and more about picking your spots, because you can jump up in the play if you are being smart about it and you don't get on the wrong side of the puck and push yourself. But it's mostly communicating with your forwards. If you're the fifth guy back, communicating with the forward, hey, if my D-man's driving the net, you can't really have that forward get up in the play too. So you got to ask him, hey, stay back, whatever. But yeah, I agree. Jumping up in the play is definitely slowed down because of the offensive opportunities we've been handing to the other teams. But you just got to pick your spots and be smart about it.
So if Layne shortens up the bench again and makes you guys play 25, 30 minutes, are you huffing and puffing the whole way, or can you handle that?
I can handle it. I think it's mostly being smart about your line changes. You don't want to, if you're on a 30-second shift already and you're going up the ice, you got to get off the ice. You can't try to be stupid and be a hero out there and try to get an offensive opportunity out of it. You got to play smart.
How do you beat North Iowa?
Wear them down. We got to strike first for sure, I believe, and then we can take them the whole way. We won't. The way we were playing Saturday, before the last 10 minutes of the game, I think we were wearing them down. We weren't letting them get any chances, and when there was pucks laying in front of the crease, we were picking up sticks and weren't letting them get anything. But we were pretty slippery out there.
All right, not to put thoughts in your head, but do you have a Selly plan for when that first goal finally comes?
I was thinking maybe like a snake or something.
A snake?
A snake, yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like slither on the ice or something. I don't know. We'll see here.
Look at Pitts' Selly in Minot last year. You know Theo Fleury's Selly when he tossed the glove and like slid on the ice or whatever?
Yeah.
Pitts did that last year.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a similar thing as to what you're describing.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think I remember seeing that, and he hammered the glass afterwards, so I was pretty happy about that. I mean, it looked really good, so what can I say?
Who has the best Sellys on the team?
Gotta say Macker's really good at Sellies. Newey, I'd like to say Newey actually, but he's been awfully mean to me lately, so I'm not going to say Newey.
What's he been saying to you?
Just really personal things about my family and whatnot, so he's gonna get the sniz on that one, but that's about it.
He's from Saskatchewan. That's your immediate trap card.
Yeah, I know. Him and Mac are both pretty violent towards Americans, and it makes every American feel bad about their country and the way they raise their kids. So you gotta expect it though. They're Canadians and they're gonna be disrespectful like that. So Mac and Newey, yeah, they're great guys, but man, they can hurt your feelings. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. All they do is win World Juniors, but we win at life though.
Yeah, we win at life. That's absolutely right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
All right, Nick Baer, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Hunter Laslo wrapping up the Coach's Show in a moment on Super Talk 1270. Wrapping up the Bobcats Coach's Show on Super Talk 1270. Bobcats and Bulls this week at home Friday, Saturday, 7:15 at the Bismarck VFW. BismarckBobcats.com for tickets. As always, looking to pack the barn this weekend. Hunter Laslo joins us here on the Coach's Show. How are you?
I'm good, C-Dog. How are you?
Not bad. Say, have you ever worn a puck like Layne did last night?
Not up on the eye where he has. I always wore a visor or a cage, but definitely been hit in the face with one quite a few times. But never since I started coaching where my face is bare out there. So I know how it feels in a way, but a little different when you're just not expecting it.
Yeah. Are you expecting him to be in a more sour mood for the rest of the week?
No, I know he's been milking it a little bit, trying to get some sympathy from everybody. So I can't wait for that thing to heal up.
I sure hope no one's giving him any sympathy, right? As far as last week, I asked Layne about the new bus. He nearly cried on air about how good the new bus is. You have a special job when we're on the way back from road trips because you cannot sleep on the bus. You're the keep Brad awake guy at the front of the bus, and you were doing double duty on Saturday.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's a long ride. That's a tough trip for any driver. I don't care if you do it for a living or not. I know Brad doesn't drive semis or buses for a living. He does it for us. I think it's just because he loves the guys and being around all the players and myself and Layne. So he's an awesome guy, and I wouldn't want anyone else behind the wheel. But yeah, on those long ones, it's hard to go straight through, especially if you can't get a nap during the day or whatever the case may be. It's a hard drive to go 9-10 hours through the night when you leave North Iowa at 10 o'clock. So it's a hard one, and yeah, I always try to lay down as much as I can for the first couple hours, and then I keep his drinks on ice in my cooler, so he can always have a water or whatever he wants, nice and cold. And so yeah, we hang out for the last little bit, and we ended up just hanging out a little longer than normal on that last trip. But good news is we got home safe, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, not many bus drivers actually are awake for one during the game that they're covering and driving for and actually watching the game, but Brad certainly is, so it makes it even more impressive. 2 defensive games in North Iowa, 2 defensive games that you wanted to see. Only unfortunate thing was you won one and lost one, but again, just 2 goals given up on the weekend, 1 on 5 on 5. That's got to be encouraging for your defense.
Yeah, I think we took a big step over the course of the weekend. We defended a lot better. There was opportunities for them to get pucks in our slot that were laying there, but we did a really good job of all 5 guys confiding on top of the crease, and our D did a much better job being underneath guys. And before, we weren't in the wrong spot. We just weren't working hard enough in front of our net, and I thought we did a lot better job boxing out, being under their sticks, not allowing them to get those rebound opportunities. And obviously on Saturday we made one mistake on a 2-on-1, 3-on-2 situation that led to the back of our net, and that's how fast it can happen. That's how good this league and division is one mistake can cost you the game, and obviously we didn't help ourselves. When you don't score a goal, it's hard to win a game. So I thought we had chances, but I think we took a good step last weekend in North Iowa. We defended a lot better. We just need to clean up our zone entries a little bit in the offensive zone and work to the middle of the ice a little bit better. We played a little bit too much on the perimeter in the offensive zone, even though we got a lot of good chances. All the good ones are going to come from the middle of the ice, so we got to work a little harder there. But I did think we took a good step and defended a lot better.
You've been doing a lot more skills in practice, and you run a lot of those drills with your forwards and even some defensemen in practice. What impact do you feel like that can have when the offense has not been consistent and your team is just trying to get back to the ways of sweeping weekends?
Yeah, I mean, so before this week, generally we take either a Monday or Tuesday practice time and just dedicate it to skills for an hour or however long we stay out there. But I wanted to not take a day away from systems and full life stuff and line work away from that by taking a practice out of it. So we got some extra ice, and Dylan over at the rink's been great with helping us out with that, where we can just have our normal practice Monday through Thursday or Friday, whatever it may be, and then just get an ice cut and hop back on the ice and work on stuff. And it's going to fluctuate week to week depending on either what we struggle on as a group, whether that be a D-core or a forward group, or Layne with the goaltenders, whatever that may be. But it also allows, if guys specifically one-on-one want to work on something, it allows us, 45, 50 minutes on clean ice to be able to work on shots, on work into the net, on corner battles, anything you can think of basically. But it allows us on fresh ice for myself and Layne to be able to work with guys in small groups instead of having 24 guys on the ice and you're trying to run a practice and skills all at the same time. It just makes it easier to fine-tune the smaller parts of the game, skills work, the shot, the puck handling, skating, all those aspects of the game.
Very quickly, Giants or Vikings on Sunday?
I'm not a Vikings fan, but I'm going to roll with the Vikes here. I'm a little too close to Minnesota to go against that, so I'm going to go Vikings.
Well, I'm saying Giants in enemy territory. All
There
right,
you go.
Last, thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, that's all for the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. The Bobcats are at home this week for Friday and Saturday night games at 7:15 against the North Iowa Bulls. Go to BismarckBobcats.com to score your seats for every home game in the 2022-23 season. Bobcats Coaches Show is back every Wednesday at 5 o'clock from the Tap-In Tavern in Bismarck, as well as on Facebook Live and the radio home of the Bobcats Super Talk 1270. Bobcats and Bulls again Friday, Saturday, 7:15, 7 o'clock pregame coverage on Super Talk 1270, and of course BismarckBobcats.com for tickets. This has been the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. Good night.